code, cloud, IT, and silly jokes. ITT.
Hey everyone, it's Dawid Chruścielski.
And Grzegorz Kotlarz, and we are ITT.
Alright, and in today's episode, we are going to check something that's really interesting. We do not advise it every time, but it's a nice thing with UI, which is called Logic Apps, and how to use Logic Apps. Actually, how Grzegorz used Logic Apps for his own personal stuff. So, Grzegorz, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So, in my company, because I'm a solopreneur, and I have to create the archive of invoices I'm receiving on a monthly basis. Actually, I'm receiving them on my email address, and they're in the attachments, and I need to archive them for legal purpose, unfortunately. So what I came up with the idea of creating the Logic app, which will grab all of these invoices I'm receiving on my email address and make an archive on my Google Drive. And let me go with you through how I set up this on my own company. So we are now in the Azure portal, and let's create the Logic app. So we are inside the resource group, create a resource. Let's find Logic app. Oh, I'm very aggressive with that caps lock. Let's hit create Logic app. Okay, we are already in the resource group invoicing. The name will be invoices archiver. Hopefully it will be. Yeah, it's available. That's because I created it in another way previously with more R just to leave the main free for this demo. And region, stuff like that, for demo purpose doesn't matter for us. Just I want to change the plan from standard to consumption, because we will run our application not so often. So I'm paying for that for 2 years already, and I'm not sure if I paid any cents already, because on each invoices, for my purpose, it's below 0.01 euro cent.
So effectively it's free. In the consumption plan. The consumption plan is good for those things that you do not run too often, and when you don't need any process for the releases, for the development. If you work in like a bigger team rather than just one developer, it may make sense to use the standard plan because it's more convenient in that matter.
That's right. Listen to him. He knows what he's saying.
Yeah, I've been there, unfortunately.
Let's start with the blank Logic app and pause here and go to our mailbox to set up everything what is needed here. And for some reason,
just hit retry.
Let's do it.
Classic restart, you know.
Okay. You can still hear me, so I am definitely here. Okay. I'm glad that you recovered my account. See here under the labels, I've created already the label invoices, because that's how I will manage what information needs to be archived. So I have the label invoices, and now let's go to the settings of my mailbox. And under the filtering, we will create a new filter. And in my case, it's when the subject contains invoice and when there is the attachment. Also, to be very specific, I specified all of the email addresses from which which mails should land to the archive. But for demo, let's filter all of the messages which are coming from my private account, which has your invoice subject and has attachments, and hit create filter. and we will apply labels invoices for them. Okay, we have it. Let's show you that we have also nothing on our Google Drive. Now we can go back to the Logic App Designer and let's create the Logic App. What we want to do, we need a trigger on Gmail, and thanks for Microsoft, we have them already written. So you can see I wrote Gmail here, and I have triggers, and one of the most popular ones is when a new email arrives. So I'm not the only one who is using that. Let's create a connection with default application. You can also specify your own application in Google and use it as the
Identity of your app.
Of your identity, yeah. Okay, we are already logged in our browser, so we're just checking which. Yeah, and we are in the designer. Do you remember? We've created the invoices label. And let's also specify here that we need the attachments.
But it will already be there because
yes,
it's in the filter in
there.
Google, right?
You're right. And we want to include that attachment into our flow. And what will be our flow? So the next step, we can run it once per 3 minutes. It's completely fine for us. I'm running it once per 3 days because that's enough frequency for me. And thanks to that, I'm paying nothing. If we will run it once per minute or something like that, of course we'll pay more. So
we can maybe for the demo we can change it to be a bit more regular, like every minute or so.
1 minute on your responsibility. Just please remember me to delete that resource after the demo.
All right, just create another Logic app that deletes it.
Okay, and what we want to do now, we want to go through all of the attachments because we can have one more than one in the mail. So let's find for each operation.
It will be in the built-in.
Yep. Yeah, he's an expert.
I know where the actions are. Wow.
And what we want to iterate is our attachments. And on each attachment, we are adding the action now. And we will create file in Google Drive for them. Where they will be?
Those one not in the
not in the building. Maybe
definitely.
in the
probably in the standard.
Okay, let's create file in all.
You'll see a lot of them.
Yeah, but I believe the Google one will be. I thought that it will be the most popular one. Let's see.
You've got it. Just hit on the Google Drive now.
Yep. Because it's like the provider and now it's the action. Create file. Okay, we need to sign in. The same as with the mailbox. Yeah, we allow. Oh, okay. And now it's my secret sauce of this whole video. Folder path. We want to store our invoices in the invoices path under the invoices directory. But what I'm doing here, I'm also adding something what's called the dynamic content. And let me write it for you, the formula in JavaScript. So what we have here, we are concatenating some strings and we are getting the current date, like UTC now, getting the year. Then we have slash, then we have month. And what it will create for us, we will have our invoices archive sorted by year and by month.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. The name of the file remains the same, which was it in the mail. So thanks to the dynamic content here, we can pick attachment name, and the file content is attachment content. And let's hit save. And the workflow is done. Now your archive will run once per minute. Your archiver will run once per minute. And if you will have any emails, it will create the archive for you. So now let's write an email to us with our invoices. And yeah, we have it. We have the mail from Grzegorz Kotlarz with invoice. Actually, it's 3 invoices there. And we see label was applied. So our filtering rule worked well in Gmail. Now let's go.
This is some serious entrepreneurship, like sending invoices to yourself.
Yeah. When you have 2 companies. Okay, and let's see the history of triggers in Azure. We see it tried to trigger our application 3 times, so it took 3 minutes to send me an email. And first 2 were skipped. Why? Because the trigger didn't have nothing as an input, because we didn't have any emails, so it just skipped and didn't run actually the archiver, like the workflow. And once it was succeeded, let's see what happened inside.
This is the cool part of Logic Apps, because you can really see what happened step by step.
We can see that some invoice to the PDF were run.
And there are 3 attachments, and we can go through those attachments and see what happened with each of them.
Yep. Everything was successful, so let's see our Google Drive now. We already have invoices directory. We have our current year, it's May, and we have 3 files here. So our archive is now done. And it's just now running. I'm running it for 2 or 3 years without any reviewing. Just I checked if it's work. I'm just checking from time to time when I need to grab my invoices. If it's still running, and I have files from 2021. By clicking it just once in directory, it took me around 5 minutes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my archive. It costs nothing. And it's working.
Yeah, it's very good for like one of things that you just set up, forget about it. It's there, small automation, something like that. It's quite useful actually. I did the same for my train tickets when I was traveling a bit more pre-COVID.
Yeah, and that was my inspiration for my invoices.
Okay, good to know. All right. Just one thing, maybe we didn't have to set up the filter right on the Google account. It could be also checked in the Logic app itself. We just need to add a new parameter, select the filter on the subject, and we can just make the Google account like not aware of what's happening and how do we filter those. So exactly. And that's equivalent to what we have in the filters in Google account. So it's also possible, maybe you use another email provider like, I don't know, Outlook or something else, or like Office 365. So it's also possible in there.
Yes, just I created that for my workflow on Mailbox because I additionally want to have them like grouped, labeled on my Mailbox. So that's why I created that in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, everything can be done here.
Yeah, and probably you can also set a label. Can you check if there's action like that? Just out of curiosity.
To set the label, you mean on
the email? Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Unfortunately, I cannot find that
Yeah, we've been looking
that
through it.
action.
We've been looking through the actions in for Gmail, and apparently there are only some simple actions like delete, get email details, move email to trash, reply, send email, and that's it. So if you need something more advanced, it's actually the your way, Grzegorz, is much better in this case.
Yep, or you can write your own connector, of course, to create labels.
Or probably just create your own app registration and make a REST call against the Gmail API. But to be honest, to do that, too much of an effort. It's better to just click
Yep.
it through in the Gmail.
All right, that's all I prepared for you. If there is nothing more from you, David.
No, I just wanted to comment that it's a really good thing for setting up like a simple workflow. Just because if you want to use that in your like a more mature project, a bigger project, it may not be the best idea from my experience at least. But for simple stuff, automation, really cool. And as you can see, it's super simple, super quick to set up anything with Logic Apps. So yeah, we recommend to use that for simple stuff when we don't have to have a big processes around it like pull requests and stuff like that. All right, cool. But thanks, Grzegorz. It's very useful. And you've been watching ITT, and hopefully it will be useful for you. Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye.